this,
I can see them.
and this is the hook to pull somebody off the stage if they get out of hand.
Virtually.
Does that adjust up a little bit?
Yeah, you know what I think?
Yeah, they'll have to
I don't
do
know.
it, but yeah, it does. It has a little legs on it.
Yeah. Unless I drop my seat.
Because sometimes the glare on it, you know, if you got it too low.
I mean, it has an adjustment on it. You want to go up higher, either just
Just a little bit.
get a
lower.
hook.
And I can still see the people then too.
There's an automatic adjuster.
I wouldn't say automatic.
I don't know about that. No, it's not.
I knew it.
It's broke
Oh, that
already.
just sets against that.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought it was
Part of it.
is that any better or worse?
It's crooked.
Nah, it's really bad. Well, you know what that wire's holding up.
Oh, yeah.
See, that wire don't
Yeah,
go down.
okay. Never mind. Let it go.
It'll be looking like on a 45-degree angle now, right?
I'm sitting at a meeting like this.
Now watch the hook slide. Don't hit on the table. too
That's
much.
even worse. That made it worse because now I really got a glare.
You want it back where it was.
Yeah.
Jesus.
You know what, Larry needs to put a dimmer on that one right there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where it was. I think.
Still crooked.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know what it is on that side.
I don't know, the IT guys
See,
had it
like
perfectly
see,
set
like
up. I
this-
don't know.
This cord. Yeah.
No, no. Now you unplugged it. Never mind. Let it go.
Only us.
You unplugged it.
Things are
Why
unplugged
shut it
now.
off?
You
No,
probably-
it's on.
Yeah.
Okay.
There, now it's perfect. Look at that.
That looks scary.
I'm applying for the IT department.
I'll tell you what.
Only us.
All right, the time has come. It's 1:30 for the monthly meeting of the monthly prison board meeting. I will call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance
to the
to the
flag
flag
of the
of the
United
United
States
States
of
of
America
America,
and to the
to the
republic
republic for which it stands, one nation,
Under God.
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
liberty and justice for all.
all.
These proceedings are being recorded for the sole purpose of constituting the accuracy of written minutes. Tapes are reused, eliminating recorded records of these proceedings.
All right. Are there any guests appearing before the prison board today? It does not appear that there are, so we'll move on to the official actions. The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes for the meeting held on December 16th, 2020.
Don't move, Rocky.
Second, Mark.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. We'll move on to report of executive sessions held.
There is one on January 5, 2021 for personnel reasons.
Okay, thank you, Warden.
Mhm.
And now we'll move on to report of committees. The first is the maintenance report.
Okay, Sites Brothers were in for their monthly service. Smulligan Glass was in to measure a cell door in Booking to replace glass that was broken. Train was in to replace the exhaust motor on rooftop unit number 2. Johnson Controls was in to reboot the fire panel. We were having an issue with that where it was going off, but that was corrected. K&D was in to look at the booster heater for the dishwasher. I do have a quote for either the repair or replacement of that I have under new business. Tremco was in and did a scan of the roof. They were actually here several times to look at things, and they're now in the point where they're compiling all their information together and should be getting us some type of, report as to, if it would be better to repair or replace at this point. So I should be getting that within the next, week or so, they were thinking possibly. Colbach Construction was digging over by the comm center earlier. I believe it was about maybe last week sometime. And while they were digging, they pulled up wires for well pump 1. Hayden Electric was in to fix the issue. And that's all been completed as of yesterday. Hayden Electric replaced the disconnect at the well pump or at the well itself because of the issue, and it's all, I guess, being paid for by Cobalt Construction.
Okay.
That was everything I have under the maintenance report.
Are there any questions or comments on the maintenance report?
I do, Tony. In the recent meetings, we were talking about the warden compiling a list of the equipment, the make, model, ages, maintenance history, and so forth, to perhaps be a little more proactive in some of the issues on some of the pieces of equipment that might be near the end of their useful life. I don't know what the status on that project is.
Maintenance has started that, controller. We did have one of them out for a little bit due to COVID. They're also running into an issue where they're not finding too many dates on equipment. So it's now to the point where they're going to have to do some research and get in contact with the manufacturers, with the VIN numbers and stuff on these different pieces of equipment, to see if we can come up with some type of years to when they were either manufactured or put in. So
Okay.
they are getting some things together, but it's going to take a little bit of time, and I'm hoping to have everything ready for next month's meeting.
All right, thank you.
Warden, in conjunction with the controller's request there, can we make that a regular part of the maintenance report? So an update on what that spreadsheet or what that document is that you're compiling?
Mhm.
Okay. Any other questions on the maintenance report? All right, we'll move on to the work release report.
Okay, there is no actual work release report due to the fact that work release is currently suspended with the high COVID numbers, but Commissioner Lukasevich had asked me to go over the 5 questions that Judge Nanovic had back in October regarding the work release policy. So I'll, just go over those 5 different questions that the judge had, and if there's any discussion on that, that way we can kind of, update the policy and move on from here.
Okay.
So the one question the judge had was in regards to the language in the policy reading that an inmate has to serve half of their minimum before becoming eligible for work release. The way the policy originally read, it was half of their minimum, but it had to be at least a minimum of 45 days they served, which would make anybody that was serving a sentence with a minimum sentence less than 90 days ineligible. So we've kind of, said that we would still keep that half a minimum, but that would be a half a minimum no matter what your sentence is. That way, if you're serving a 30-day sentence, you only have to serve 15 days, et cetera, to be eligible. Now, there may also be, if somebody's serving a year sentence per se, maybe we want to put a minimum number of days that they want to actually, be incarcerated, because in a case like that, if somebody's serving just a shy of a 1-year minimum, they're looking at 6 months as half their minimum to become eligible. So that kind of, there'd have to be some leeway. Either we come up with a set amount of days, or, do we just stay with the half of the minimum? The next thing we have, he was looking to add some charges to the ineligibility, adding burglary to page 1, number 9, to letter G on that. And on page 2 of the policy, add other possession charges to J. So just to kind of make it uniform, there's been, several different charges that have been added to the charge code over the years, and just to make sure that all these are actually being accounted for. The third question he had was in regards to inmates not being granted work release for self-employment. And the main question was, well, if it's an individual that maybe has a job such as being an accountant or something like that, where they would have their own business, to kind of make that individual eligible for work release. And, it's something that we could look at, to put some language in there, maybe on a case-by-case basis for individuals like that. Next one was inmates failing to report to work due to an illness must secure medical clearance from the prison physician. The judge was just wondering if this was really necessary for individuals who were just suffering from maybe a headache or the common cold or something like that. So that's something we could look at as well. And then the final thing was currently right now we charge a $20 per day or $140 per week for room and board for work release inmates. And the judge was just wondering if we were satisfied with that amount.
Okay. So is it part of the work release committee to make recommendations to the court warden?
Yeah, I would say that, we could probably look at this and make some recommendations of this by the committee and then report back to the board on it. That's fine.
Would that be something that would be beneficial to you, Your Honor?
That would be fine, Tony. Quite honestly, I know Tim's correct. I mean, I did look at the, I think they were draft or proposed work release policies at the time. And I completely forgot about all the comments, but I think Tim got them all there. So I don't think it's been enacted or passed yet. They were still in the draft or discussion phase. And those were only questions I had that I thought should be addressed and considered and discussed. So if the warden is suggesting that they review them and come out with some response to that, that's fine with me.
Okay. And I would recommend to give the committee a hand with this, that if any of our members have any comments on those 5 issues, that they forward them off to the warden for consideration of the committee when they do meet.
And we'll resend out the judge's email so everyone has those, and then we'll put a suspense date for input back to us so we can go ahead and draft some proposed verbiage.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner.
Tony, could I ask a quick question?
Yes.
On the room and board rates, when were they changed last?
Warden, do you have that answer?
I think it is probably roughly around 1997 or 98 was the last time that those rates were changed. I think at that time they went from $15 a day to $20 a day.
I think that occurred while I was in office. So I would say 2001, 2002, I believe, is when we looked at that.
Okay. All right.
That's
Maybe
what
it was.
I could be wrong. Maybe it was something else. But
Well, it
that's
might
what-
actually been 1997 when it was instituted, and that could have been the $15 at the time, Commissioner. Yeah.
Okay,
It was increased after 2000. And so I thought we adjusted it after 2000. So,
It could have been. You're right.
but it's a long time. So
Sounds like, yeah.
any further comments on the work release report? Okay, if not, we will move on to the warden's report. Warden?
Okay, my general numbers are in front of everyone. As of today, we have 169 inmates in-house. Of those, 140 are males and 29 females.
Any questions on the warden's report?
Maybe I missed it. Did he give an update on the COVID cases and that on staff and inmates?
I actually have that since we're dealing with staff and stuff under executive session as far as the
okay.
numbers and stuff for
Okay.
personnel and security reasons.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Warden, can we talk about the inmates, the inmate population positives we were sharing with the public?
Yes,
any
we
updated numbers
still-
on that?
We still currently have the 76 inmates. The medical director has informed me that he will be retesting them on February 8th, just to make sure that everybody, is give them some time to become negative. We do have some that are showing some mild signs, and they've been put on a supplement protocol that he has devised to help with that. But there haven't been any major, side effects or anything at this point, and nobody has had to have been hospitalized or anything because of that. Everybody has remained in-house here under quarantine.
Thank you, Warden. Are
Mhm.
there any other questions about the warden's report? If not, I will entertain a motion to accept it.
So move, Mark.
Second, Rocky.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All in favor, no. Motion carries. We'll now break for executive session.